Welcome to The Resilient Realtor, where we gain insight, inspiration, and understanding of what makes a great real estate agent. Interviewing agents of change. And now, the host of The Resilient Realtor, an award-winning veteran real estate agent and community leader, Kim Hayden.
Welcome to the Resilient Realtor and, looking for agents of change. And I'm super excited. I have an iconic agent who has managed to do probably 30 years of work within 6 or 7 years. Please welcome Jennifer Jones. Jennifer, how are you doing today?
I am so great today, Kim. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm happy to share my experience with everybody.
Awesome. So Jennifer, give us a little insight as to who you are and where you're at.
I am north of the Toronto area, and we work predominantly sort of Aurora area north, for anyone who knows that, around the entire Lake Simcoe area.
Is it just yourself, team? Like, tell me a little bit about what you've grown and how long you've been in the business.
I've been an agent now for just over 6 years. I started out as an individual agent, and after my third year, I did over 1,000,001 GCI and went, oh my gosh, I can't handle what's coming in. So at that point, I started a team. So the team has been about 2.5 years now. And we put a lot of systems into place. I've learned a lot from agents that do a lot better than I do. And we did 235 deals last year. So we've had probably our best 2 weeks ever in the past 2 weeks, like just GCI units, everything. It's been amazing since moving to EXP, actually.
And how many agents do you have on your team?
We're currently at about, I think we're 10 total. We have a licensed admin as well, and then director of operations. We have social media people. It is set up as a business now, and that seems to be what's worked best for us.
Amazing. Now, do you have a business background or in moving into why real estate? Like what brought you to this point?
Well, back starting in my 20s, I was actually buying, selling, and flipping real estate in Sarasota, Florida. And I was in horses. So buying and selling horses, retraining, and then reselling. So got into horse racing. I was actually in horse racing for 7 years. So traveling all over North America. And I was blessed enough to know some incredible people and do well enough to keep my head above water. But ran into some, I would say, bad luck with 5 horses dying in a short period of time from different things like viruses. And I believe that was the universe's way of kind of redirecting with, this is not the direction you're meant to go and you need to shift. And for me, it was the instant I shifted and went into real estate, because my husband at the time, were buying properties, renovating, reselling. It was a natural fit. The moment I moved over, it was like instant ease and success, right?
Yep.
So, and that is with a commitment to work 7 days a week, 18-hour days, right? So I think agents thinking, oh, I'm gonna get into this business, it's gonna be so great, I'm gonna make a lot of money and have time off. What you put in is what you get out, right?
Yeah.
So especially for agents coming on, it's like anything else. I came into it looking at my dad, who was an entrepreneur, going, okay, that first 5 years, this is going to be a big commitment of time. And am I prepared to do that and put in that level of commitment for the 5 years to be able to grow the business the way that I want? So business background in terms of renovating, flipping, and horse sales, not business background, with corporate background or like some of the other agents. Yeah.
It's still very much learning to stay in your lane. With real estate, that was good, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
With real estate, it's really easy to get distracted and to get
Yes.
your eye pulled off. I know I'm guilty of it. What are some things that you've learned in your 6 years that maybe have pulled your eye and then you've had to kind of redirect?
I'm actually kind of laser focused. So
Okay.
something I would say, and something I teach even the agents on our team, is instant response, right?
Okay.
So it's that higher level of service during working hours of, I have my phone, it's always within arm's reach, and I'm always paying attention. So if there's something, an emergency that comes up or something that happens, we need to be super responsive. You could have a client at the bank that's trying to do a wire transfer, it's not working. You could have a lawyer trying to close something that needs immediate information. You could have an agent at a property trying to get in and the lockbox isn't working, right? We've all been there, right?
Absolutely. I've had the client late at night that the wife is out of town and he can't remember where the extra key is. And he's
Exactly.
like, yeah.
The client can't get in their own house, right?
And who do you
So
call?
I think for me, I'm very driven. So my DISC, if anyone knows what a DISC is, I would hope that if you don't, that you investigate and go do the DISC yourself. I'm high D with a high I, right?
Yes.
So for me, it is that focus and that drive of, once I get my head into something and decide I'm going to do it, you kind of have to step out of my way, right?
Amazing.
So I feel that for people that are having a challenge with focus, I think it is working on, what is my big why? What is my purpose? Why am I doing this? And for a lot of our agents, it's having that conversation of, okay, the truth is, we could either love you so much, we allow you to basically be unaccountable, and you're going to basically fail out of the business, or we can love you so much, we hold you accountable and help you grow and become the best salesperson that you can be. Because the truth is, if you have a mortgage to pay and car payments and all of those things, your big why at the very least should be doing those things, but it should be taking care of your family, or, you know, providing opportunities for your children, or some travel, or giving back, a bigger purpose of giving back in the world. And I think that's the biggest key thing. Find out what your big why is. I know we worked on vision boards together, Kim.
Yes.
And I think that having that vision board in that direction of, where am I going? What am I looking to achieve? And then checking in with it every day. And if you're struggling with that accountability for someone, then finding themselves an accountability partner at the very least, someone who actually will say, hey, you committed to, to make those 50 phone calls yesterday. Did you make those phone calls? Well, no, we just got so busy, and you have excuses. And it's that person that looks you dead in the eye and says, all right, could you really have done the phone calls? Like, in the grand scheme of everything that's possible in the world, could you have accomplished it? Yes. So why didn't you, right? And are you willing to recommit? And when are you going to commit by? And so you're going to allow me to love you enough to hold you accountable, that when I check in, that you've actually done this work, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then
So
they fire you if you don't do it, Cam.
So who do you listen to? Who's your go-to coach, be it real estate or life? Like, who's the one that you always, once you've listened to them or read something they've written, you walk away and go, okay, I'm good, I'm recentered, I'm focused?
I think for me, it's more, I look at, okay, the people I need to pay attention to are the people that are doing something way better than me. It's where I, aspire to be, or it's a book that's recommended, right? There's a great book on lead generation, Jeb Bluton, I think it's
Okay.
called, Fanatical Prospecting, like books like that, where it gets you like back into that, right? This is just energizing me to go out and do it. And then, business books like The Road Less Stupid, right? You can't train drive into people. So
No.
thinking you're gonna, bring on an agent or hire someone and they're suddenly gonna become, this big driver because you're gonna be able to train them into it and hold them accountable and they're gonna do it.
No.
It's a lie. You need to hire drive, right? So these
Absolutely.
are things along the way. But I would say the biggest thing for me was looking around, and the example I would use is, when I first started the team, I thought, who do I aspire to be? Who's the top team at that point that I had contact with? So the top team for Keller Williams at that time was a team in Austin, Texas called the Loken Group. And at the time they were doing 2,400 deals a year. So I actually flew my office manager, who was a licensed realtor, down because I was too busy. So I flew her down and had her shadow them and take notes and get all their systems and figure it all out. And then she flew back, we had a meeting, and then we implemented everything that they were doing. So I started an inside sales department, ISA. We started using Trello board, which is an amazing organizational tool for deals, right? So we started doing all those things that they were doing and immediately had, I believe, quicker success than we would have if we hadn't paid attention. So even watching other big teams within the area that are, double what we are and where we aspire to be, I pay attention to what they're doing, right? So,
Absolutely. You should never be the smartest person in the room.
no, because then you don't have growth. And the other thing I do is I check in with myself every day and I say, have I been uncomfortable today, right? Because if the truth is, if I've been comfortable all day, I'm not growing, I'm not learning, and I have to be in a position where every single day I'm looking for something that's making me uncomfortable. Even where a client may come back to me and say, well, why do you do it this way? I didn't really understand this. And I think I could go, well, you're a pain in my ass and I'm going to fire you as a client. Or, wow, this is such a great learning opportunity. You've pointed out something to me that I didn't see or didn't, fully understand that I could do a better job with that. So that reflection of how do I learn from you? Even someone, an agent directing, let's say, negative energy towards you. I look at that as a growing opportunity, right? And what can I learn from this? How can I do better? How do I improve this situation, right?
Sometimes family can bring out the worst in us, and sometimes family brings out the best in us. And it's not always easy to work with family. And yet you have found a way to not only create almost a secondary family with your team, but part of your team is family. Can you give us a bit of because I run into a lot of husband and wife and mother-daughter and sibling teams in real estate. What is your go-to to keep things in a positive motion forward with your family?
Stay in your lane, Kim, stay in your lane. That's what it's all about, right? Working with family. And I know you work with family as well. So this was my vision, my dream, and my husband partners from a different perspective. So my husband is basically our in-house contractor for the team. He'll be second opinions. He'll go in and do repairs on things. So that's kind of his lane, and he's a numbers guy. So he watches the numbers, right?
Excellent.
So and I have my sister who actually was a principal for 27 years in a private school. Yeah.
You don't want to get called to her office, eh?
I say as agents, a lot of us are like cats, right? Trying to herd us is like herding cats. So I feel like the experience that she brings to the table, having done 27 years with children, is perfect. So she came on to learn the whole admin role. She's moved into director of operations role, and that's going to be fantastic. We have my brother had been part of the team and actually slipped, fallen, and fractured his wrist, and had been going through rehab for a year's result. I don't know. So I have another sister that I brought on and trained up in real estate. She's now operating as a team leader for a different brokerage. That was a good fit for her at the time, and it was also an open conversation with that OP of we want her to go in there and learn it because as we grow, we want that experience of what is that position and how do we apply it to our business, right? So
amazing. That would have been an interesting conversation to sit in on, because I know that real estate is so personal though.
Yeah, and actually when you have great relationships, and that's what it is, I have a very strong relationship with that OP. So for us, we have a common denominator in faith. And when you have faith, you have trust. And when you have trust, you have open conversation. When you have open conversation and people understand what the intention is from both parties, it's actually easier than not knowing what someone's doing, right?
Absolutely. Now, when you mentioned Trello, so what is so Trello is your like a must-have to for the organization and keeping everybody, on task and knowing who's on what base. What are give me two other apps or platforms that are really instrumental to helping your business grow or succeed?
So one that the first one we implemented was Commission Think. So again, Peggy Hill is an agent that was doing 900 units at the time, and she's a team. And I spoke with her and said, okay, what are you doing to get to that number? So she explained Commission Think, which is a lead company, right?
Okay.
Now, you work the leads on your own. You can pay them to work the leads, which I didn't find effective for us. So we actually brought an inside sales department to work those leads, and they book the appointments for our agents. So for our agents, they're going out to book appointments. So this Sync platform, which is an app for the agents, has been critical in producing enough business as a team to feed those agents. So that was one thing. The second thing, then the next piece of it was, again, love to learn, brought in a company called Goodfellow Coaching, and they charged us big bucks to analyze the business for 2 days last year. And he said to me, wow, you're doing so many things so well. And he said, in fact, I've never seen a team with so many leads. And he said, I've never seen a team lose so many leads, like basically slip through their fingers. So he said, you need Follow Up Boss. So that's when we implemented another app called Follow Up Boss, which actually tracks the leads. People collaborate on them. You email and call through. So it helps hold us all, and I include myself in that, holds us all super highly accountable to maintaining contact with the client and not having those clients sort of fall through the cracks where, you forget about them, right? Like
Absolutely.
It's like agent focus is business now, who's immediate instead of who are long-term nurtures. Well, in our Sync account alone, we have about 8,000 leads we nurture, right? These are buyers and sellers we've been nurturing for 2 to 3 years.
And when you talk about nurturing leads, what's your percentage that you can transition from lead to active, let's say in a 6-month time frame?
It's funny you say that because this morning we do a morning meeting every morning. So 8 o'clock in the morning Zoom call, every agent's on Monday to Friday, half-hour call, accountability, scripts and role plays. And my ISA, who's on the call, that was the question that I asked today. So she said, actually, I'm just about to do our 3-month report. So I'll get back to you on that, Kim. I will have that answer.
That would be really awesome because a lot of agents out there, I know a lot of people expect that immediate response. Okay, I just turned this on and I've got, 10 new leads and they actually gave me all their information. I'm going to call them and they're all going to be clients. And it's all going to happen in 30 days.
And the great thing is, because with the Sync platform, for instance, because I don't have experience with other platforms. So if you do, that's great and it works awesome. For us, this is what works. And what we found is you do get those people that will literally book an appointment. Like, I want to go see this property. You take them there, they buy the property, or one of the others. Then you have the others we book appointments for. It's more of an agent experience appointment, sort of the interview, collecting information on where they want to go, what they're looking to achieve. And then that follow up and constant contact, right, that you're going to maintain. So, I think our conversion, I know that for basically 120 calls, it takes 120 calls to get a deal. Okay. So we've worked those numbers. So we actually have pretty good stats based on the industry standard. We seem to be doing better. And actually our May this year during COVID, our ISA booked double the amount of appointments with one person versus 2 people last year. So what we're working on now is, of those double appointments that were booked, what is the conversion, right?
Amazing.
So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. The numbers are super important, like super.
Absolutely. Because they give you a benchmark, what to work towards, and then how can you better improve. If you don't know what you're working towards and you don't know what the results are, it's very hard to improve upon them. So,
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, guilty pleasure. We know real estate is not a job. It's not even really a career. It's a lifestyle.
I know.
It is your life. So, what is your guilty pleasure to unwind and to re-engage from Jennifer Jones, the lead, the boss, the driver, to Jennifer Jones, the woman, the sister, the daughter, the neighbor, the friend?
So I would say the past 6 years, especially moving into running and operating a team where we have a lot of new people and I have to be accessible literally morning to night. That's a tricky question, Kim. So my guilty pleasure would be traveling. So every, say, 3 months, we would take off for at least a week, usually like try 10 days. And I direct all my phone calls to another senior agent. Of course, I'm checking in with them a couple times a day, but taking that real time to travel, that's a passion I have. Otherwise, it would be honestly coming home at 9 or 9:30 at night, going out to eat in a restaurant, having a glass of wine, right?
Yep.
And just that, like, decompression.
Let somebody else take care of you for a few moments.
Yes, exactly. And we don't have time to cook. If you open my fridge, there's nothing in there. People laugh, like they joke about the beautiful Wolf range we have that I probably, maybe fried some eggs on it twice or something, right? It's like, I feel a work of art. That Wolf range is just a work of art. Just stare at it, So
What's the one piece of advice that you've received or a piece of advice that you give that you feel is really beneficial to new entrepreneurs, new agents who are just getting up and
Sure.
running?
So I think it's will be two different things. If you're a new agent, you need to find a more established agent who will mentor you through the process. It can be very discouraging when you're taking all of this action and doing all of the activities and not seeing the result. But it's having that faith and understanding that action in and that constant desire to improve will produce the results, right? But if you're finding you're putting all the energy in and you're not getting the result, for us, we would be analyzing why. Is it, does your scripting and role plays need to be better? Do you need to better understand the industry? Even, are you not smiling? Are you not, you're not coming across as being confident? So the other flip side, once you're producing, it's to read Profit First, that book. I don't know if you've read that, Kim.
I'm going to be right now. I'm going to go get it.
It's an amazing book. It's the idea of paying yourself first. Otherwise, you'll constantly reinvest the money and you're going to, have money for all these other things, more advertising, whatever it is, but you're not actually paying yourself. So I learned through reading that book, pay yourself first before anybody else, right? It's your time and your energy in, do that first. And I think really I watch my P&Ls every month. I watch my balance sheets. I know my numbers because the mistake I made was, 3 years in, crazy busy, start bringing on team. I'm going to start a team. I did not know how to start a team, right, at that time. And I thought, I'm going to be more generous with my splits. These guys, they're really taking a lot of money from the agent. I'll just adjust and do my own splits, not realizing, the team is going to cost me $50,000 to $60,000 to run a month, right?
Exactly.
So after a year, we did well. And then I looked at the profit and went, ooh, I worked all of those hours and did all of that for this, less than if I just been my own agent. So I had a come to Jesus talk with the team and said, hey guys, you know what? I've made a mistake here. I've done the wrong thing by you because now we're in a position where I have to change the splits going forward or we're not going to be able to continue with the team. So we did lose a couple agents as a result, and I take responsibility for bringing them into a situation where I hadn't properly run those numbers and figured it out. So it's that, other agents have shared their experiences, and I've learned along the way, there are like say that we call it the red Bible, right? You can read Millionaire Real Estate,
Yep.
read that, stick to that formula of how to do it, because it does work, right? And then you,
Absolutely.
so last year we were profitable, which I'm very thankful for. And I would never go back down that road of doing what I did before, right?
Absolutely. So when you talk about um, the structure, there's a structure we call the triple bottom line, and that's understanding the investment in people, the planet, profit, right? So when we look at people, I know that you're a fairly strong community supporter. Can you give me a quick insight as to what activities within your community you support and how you initiated those conversations?
Mhm. So for us, like, even example during COVID would be, we had the entire team, because it was only myself and one other agent still going out. Other people have young kids. There was someone with compromised immune system. So what we said is, I'll go out. I'm going to run all the appointments, like for you. And now we want to give back to the community. So we want you dialing through the entire community, offering help. So offering to shop for elderly, offering to get them medications, like what is it they need, and we're going to provide it. So that's essentially what the team did that whole entire time. And it was interesting because actually we ended up doing small Rogers thing because, you know, one of the agents happened to hit the house of, you know, this guy that runs a political show. But it's that that constant focus on, through even each and every deal, how can we serve at the highest possible level? So for us, it's little things like, they need a furnace repair, we do a furnace repair. They needed a deck fix, and we're not charging them, right? We do the deck fix. Somebody needed something painted, we just go ahead and paint it, we don't charge them. So it's a lot of helping each individual person actually net more money on their home, which gives them the benefit to go forward. And then we do a lot of things with like Georgina Food Pantry. So we fed, we did a big Christmas event and fed actually 250 people, like a free event. We had raffles, we did like decorated it, gave them all gifts, like just for people that were, you know, sort of struggling or feeling lonely around Christmas time. We do the same thing, you know, big Thanksgiving events, give away free turkeys to
But
our
do you
clients.
drop them from a helicopter, like from WKP? What was that? What is that?
Maybe WKP, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was like Les Nessman or something. And he's like, "Oh my God." Okay, no, sorry, I totally digressed.
You've actually given me a really good idea. Because we do it at a farm, so you could have a helicopter just fly them all in. That's hilarious. Love it.
Okay, and to wrap us up, so we know kind of how we can get a little insight. I think quotes really say a lot about who inspires an individual. What is a quote that you've heard, be it something when you were a youth, something that your parents have said, something that you've read that really resonates with you as an individual or as a leader?
I would say the way you do anything is the way you do everything, right? So I don't know whose quote that was, but that definitely resonated and stuck with me. It's even in that moment you think, do I want to do my hair today, or just let it dry naturally? And then that kicks in, I go, just do your hair. You know what I mean? Small
Yeah,
things like, you know, oh, I could lie in bed. No, I'm going to kick my own ass and get up, right? The way you do anything is the way you're showing up everywhere else. So that
amazing.
importance of like integrity of character and high standard for everything you do.
Amazing. I totally agree. So I did my hair for you today. And that's why everybody can see us. I know.
Yeah.
I love your background, by the way. Speaking of
Well, thank you.
travel, you've got all the palm trees going on there. People
Yeah.
that don't know where Toronto is, that's really not Toronto, but we like to
Not,
pretend.
I just worry about like a shark coming through the screen, right? Like Jaws.
Well, I look forward to an opportunity to actually sit down at a restaurant and have a glass of wine with you some evening just to unwind. And I can't thank you enough for sharing your insight, because there will be somebody who listens and they're going to say, they're going to have an aha, because there's so many golden nuggets in everything you said. And It's such an honor. Thank you.
No, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, be an agent of change.